Hey, welcome to today's episode. My name is Brandy Shaver. I'm one of the founders of Beach Boss Influencers. And I am so excited to be here because we're talking about how to find the joy in the journey while building your business and not burn out before it's all built. This is something near and dear to my heart because I am a workaholic. So I would love for you to let me know down below if you are one of those personalities that you're like, you know what? I'm just going to keep banging on this brick wall until it either breaks or I figure out how to go over it or something happens in my business, right? And so this is where I was in my business. And it's something that I've had to really work on to find the journey because I was always like, you know what? When I make more money, when I have more time, when the kids are bigger, when my team is bigger, when I'm making this huge passive income from network marketing, then I'll be happy. Then I can stop working, right? Then, and really what I found, it was robbing myself of the joy and the joy of being in the present. And really what ends up happening when you're in this place is you're thinking about the future or you're thinking about the past. And so you're kind of like forgetting about the present. And that's why a lot of people say, the present is a gift because it's so important to figure out how to find joy in the journey. And so we're going to talk about this today. So, number one, stop multitasking. Now, this was really hard for me because had some severe pride around being a multitasker. I was like, you know what? I can do a live video, hold a pug and, type and look at my phone and, whatever, cook dinner all at the same time. And I was really proud of that. But this is what ends up happening is that when you are multitasking, your body is dumping cortisone into your bloodstream and it's creating a very safe place for diseases that you don't want. Okay. So that's the first thing. And number two, it's robbing you of what you're doing right now. Instead of thinking about what I'm doing right now, right? I might be thinking about, oh, who just texted me? Or, it's dinner time or whatever, right? Like you want to be present in that moment and taking it in and finding the joy. And this is something that has been a huge task for me. So I want to share what I've come up with to help you do this in your business to stay in the game long enough so you don't burn out before it's built. Okay. So number one is stop multitasking. Now, how do you stop multitasking? Because I know some of your heads just blew off. You're like, well, if I didn't multitask, I'd get nothing done. Nobody'd have any clothes and nobody'd have any food and dinner wouldn't be made and the dogs wouldn't be fed and nothing, right? Well, number one, learn how to time block. Okay. Get a Google Calendar, whatever kind of calendar, get a paper calendar, get a Beach Boss calendar for that matter. We have a planner, a 90-day success planner that you can get that will help you get on track, right? Now, for me, I like my phone because I like Google Calendar because I kept forgetting my paper calendar. So I would leave, run to the store, run to the market, run wherever. And then I wouldn't know my schedule because I'd forgotten and it was on paper at home. So Google Calendar works fabulous for me. You just need to figure out what works for you. Now, what you do here is you're going to time block. Okay. Now, once you get into Google Calendar, it's simple. You can hook it to your Gmail. If you don't have a Gmail, get a Gmail. It's free. Okay. That's one of the really great features is that it's free. And you're going to learn how to time block. Okay. Now, number one, you have got to schedule in what is non negotiable. Now, you may have a job right now that's paying the bills and keeping a roof over your head. That's non negotiable. So, you're going to have to schedule in that time. You're going to go in and time block those times out when you're working. Okay. Now, the next thing I want you to do, and you're going to think is going to be your business, but it's actually not. I want you to put yourself first. You know how the airplane says when you get on the airplane and they say, if there's a drop in pressure and the doohickey comes down from the ceiling, please put your mask on before you help someone else put theirs on. There's a reason for that. Okay. And it's the same thing in life. You need to put your own mask on. And I know a lot of women, especially, we feel guilty about, doing self-care. But it's important if you don't have your cup full, if you're not yourself, if you're not feeling like you can give. And we feel so guilty for this. I've been in this place before where I'm like, man, I just can't give anymore. Like, I'm tired. I need a nap, right? We've got to fill our cup before we can fill anyone else's. So please put on your schedule you time. Now, obviously, if you're working a full time job, this can't be all freaking day long. You're going to sit in the bathtub and eat bonbons, right? That's not how this is going to work. Let me know if you get to sit home and in the bathtub and eat bonbons because I want to know what you do. You probably don't have kids if that's the case, right? But you want to put yourself first. And what I mean by that is some self care. It could be meditation, prayer, journaling, it could be working out, right? It could be a mixture of that. Maybe you meditate and pray in the morning and you work out at night. Maybe you meditate and pray at night or in the day and you work out in the morning, right? You've got to figure out what works for you in this process, okay? And it's a testing process. So you go first, then your family comes first. This is important because, and I've fallen into this before as well, the short term sacrifice for the long term gain. Now, let's talk about this, right? So if you take 3 to 5 years to go build your business and you drop everything, including your family relationships, which I am totally guilty of, I have done this. And, I just did the bare minimum I could possibly do. I actually damaged the relationship with my daughter doing this. If you put your family last after business, after God, after yourself, there isn't going to be anybody left to enjoy your business with. So, what's the point? Okay. So, just let me know if that resonates for you. We need to have our priorities in play. Okay. God, you, family, business. Okay. So think about it in that way. Put you, your family first on the calendar. And as far as I'm concerned, your time, part of your time should be spent with your heavenly father if that's, what you do. Okay. Now, the fourth thing that you want to put on the list is business. Now, this is where you're going to put in the tasks. Now, after you've gotten your family, and then you're going to put business tasks in, you can find the pockets of where you have a couple extra hours, maybe a half an hour for lunch, right? Instead of scrolling through social media, maybe you use social media to build your business in that half an hour while you're eating, right? Now, this isn't multitasking because you would have been scrolling through Facebook anyway. Maybe you go in and you have that time blocked in that you're going to active prospect, or you're going to follow up in that process, or you're going to do a quick reel, right? A reel takes what? 7 seconds, right? You could do a quick Facebook Live on your lunch break, right? Get intentional about building your business and block it into your schedule, all right? Now, the last thing that you want to put into your schedule, which is super important, is evaluation. Now, when I learned this skill from one of my mentors, it totally changed everything for me because, I'm one of those that's banging up against the wall. And one of the things that I was doing was when I took 2.5 years cold prospecting, I figured if I just kept doing it, it would work, right? Well, after 2.5 years, I sat myself down and I said, after all this time and energy and money and gas and time away from my family and all the things, I've recruited one person and she's not even duplicating what I'm doing. So this doesn't make sense, right? If I'd have learned that skill before, it would have made way more sense, right? To evaluate sooner rather than later in that process. Maybe my business would even be farther and farther ahead of where it is now. Okay. So evaluate. Now, sometimes when you evaluate, here's the questions you want to ask yourself. Okay. So what worked about what I did in my business today? Okay. What worked about our family relationships today? And what worked about myself today? Okay. And answer those questions. Sometimes you're going to feel like, oh my gosh, nothing freaking worked, right? Like it was a total crazy circus and I am the ringleader, right? That's kind of how you're going to feel. Well, you can still find something that worked. Number one, maybe you had a conversation with your son. Number two, maybe you did a live video. Number three, maybe you time blocked your schedule. Maybe you didn't follow the time blocking, but at least you put it in your schedule, right? So you can find 3 things that work. Now, what do you think is the reason that we teach you to focus on the positive first? Okay. We want you to stay in business long enough to get it built. Okay. If you're always focused on the negative, you're not going to stay in business. You're going to be like, this doesn't freaking work. And you're going to throw everything out of the house with, just everything. You're going to just throw it all out and be like, nothing's working and I'm done. I quit. Right. So we don't want to do that. We've got to focus on the positive, focus on the small wins long enough to get moving into the next phase of your business, which, with skills and things like that. Okay. So the next question that you're going to ask yourself is, what didn't work about my business today, or what didn't work about what I did in my business today, or what didn't work with the family today. Now, you want to evaluate different places in your life, right? Like your relationship with God, your relationship with your family, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your business, your relationship with your kids, right? All these things are super important. And you want to put those important things into evaluation, because this isn't just a tool for business, it's a tool for life. Okay. Now, I want you to do is I want you to come with two things that didn't work. Okay. Now, so if it was business we were talking about, I'd be like, okay, well, what didn't work about business today? Well, maybe my internet wasn't working. Okay. That didn't work. Definitely didn't work if you don't have internet. Number two, what didn't work? Well, I didn't honor my schedule. Okay. I didn't go with the schedule. Okay. And then you ask yourself, what might I do right now to change that? Okay. Now, sometimes you can't do anything. If the internet's broken, you can't do anything. But if it's something else, you can definitely do something about it. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to share with you is you want to put into some flex time into your schedule. Okay. You don't want to pack everything in so tight that like there's no place for, anything different, because your life's going to get hijacked. Let's be honest, right? Something's going to happen, maybe this or that or the other, right? Just make sure that you have some time in there, some flex time, that if you didn't get your live video done on Wednesday when you scheduled it, that maybe you can fit it in on Friday. All right. So now the last thing that I want to talk about is putting the joy into your freaking schedule. Okay. Now, if you get joy from working out, if you get joy from gardening, if you get joy from your pugs, if you get joy from date night, if you get joy from whatever, schedule it into your schedule. And that's how you find the joy in the journey, and keep in evaluation. Focus on the joy, focus on your business, focus on the positive, and keep moving forward. If you need more help on how to build your business, go ahead and grab the link down below, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.